Welcome to the Workbench After Hours podcast. My name is Keith, and I'm your host. This is where we talk about the firearms community, shop talk, and everyday life experiences. Welcome back to episode 63 of the Workbench After Hours podcast. Jacob's back with us today, so welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Back.
And he's going to talk to us all about ACOGs later on.
Sweet.
Yes, because, you know, everybody wants an ACOG, but is it really worth the money?
Stay
We'll find
tuned.
out because Jacob paid the money. I hope your wife doesn't listen to this podcast.
I hope so too.
He paid $200 for it.
Yes.
So, but Chris, what are we drinking this week?
We are drinking Russell's Reserve Single Barrel. Yeah.
All right.
Should hate for you.
Well, even if I don't finish it out of the snifter, I'm going to dump it into my ice glass.
Yeah.
So what are we supposed to get on the nose?
So on the nose, you're supposed to get vanilla, nuts, and brown sugar with notes of oak and cinnamon. I'm getting the sugar.
I smell spice. I didn't like the cinnamon.
Yeah.
I can smell vanilla in there.
Yeah, and
Get
vanilla.
that vanilla.
Don't smell the nuts.
You know what's funny is we've talked about how much caramel we get out of a lot of whiskeys. I'm not getting a lot
Yeah.
of caramel out of this
No.
one.
So, and on the taste, you're supposed to get spicy, bold, and deeply complex with creamy toffee, licorice, and vanilla, or licorice is what I like to call it.
Definitely spicy up front.
Just on the smell too, though. Like I don't know that. Like if you right after you stop like sniffing, I get a harsh like alcohol.
Yes.
Sniff.
Like it burns your nose.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's also because of these snifter glasses too. I found out. That's why they call them snifter glasses. But yeah, definitely a bold, very spicy flavor
Very
up front.
spice. You can get a little bit of the toffee and a little bit of licorice if you let it just sit on the tongue.
Yeah, I'm getting that real
Yeah.
alcohol-y aftertaste. Same thing as the smell. It's crazy how much the smell mimics the taste.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But this is a single barrel, so
Yeah.
cool
I'm sure
thing
it'll
about
change
that.
entirely once we get it on ice too.
You
So
can-
this is a wild turkey, distilled by Wild Turkey.
Yep.
So, little thing about the little blurb about it: crafted in the birthplace of bourbon with techniques dating back to pre-prohibition. Russell's Reserve Single Barrel is matured in the deepest number 4 alligator charred barrels. Seems to be a thing with Wild Turkey.
Yeah.
Bottled at 110 proof, non-chill filtered, and each barrel has its own personality, yet still captures the signature toffee and vanilla tones. Which, yeah, there's a lot of.
Yeah.
So yeah, 110 proof.
Wild turkey likes their proofs, I've noticed.
Yes.
a lot.
Well, hell, just regular Wild Turkey is 101, right?
I
Or
think
is that just Wild Turkey
that-
101?
that's Wild Turkey
Yeah.
101.
What's so the other one's probably what,
Yeah.
90?
Yeah, but even their rare breed was what, 100?
It was 116.
Yeah,
It
something
was
crazy.
up there.
Yeah, which
So
is crazy.
We liked the rare breed. For me, it was just getting on the
Too high.
too sweet.
Yeah,
And then what we really liked is the Russell's Reserve 10 year.
yeah, that was really good. I actually went and bought a bottle today.
Yes. So this is more expensive because it is a single barrel. Now, it doesn't say how long it was aged for.
No,
I'm almost wondering if it's still the 10 years, but this is just obviously a single barrel, you think? Bottled at that?
yeah, maybe. I know
Because
it's weird.
the Russell's 10 year was not 110 proof.
No,
I think it was closer to 90, maybe.
yeah, something like that. But yeah, some people are real proud about how long they let them mature or age.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, neat. Drinking this neat. It's really
it's not
good.
bad.
Like I can do it if you do get a little boldness up front, but it's still doable.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy because
I wouldn't choose to drink this one neat. It's not bad neat, but
It's okay, Jacob.
It's
You're
not
just a
one.
beginner.
it's not one that I would be like, I just want a neat glass of this. Definitely would want ice.
You really didn't start drinking bourbon until
I did a long time ago. Then I kind of got away from it. I kind of got away from liquor in general, and then got more into learning about bourbon and stuff when we reconnected.
yeah, I think you started listening to some of the earlier podcasts and then started trying some of the stuff we did. So
Yeah, that's kind of what we reconnected over was I started listening to your podcast. I'm like, man, I miss talking to Keith, and we just started talking more about the podcast and stuff. And
Yep. Yeah. For those that don't know, we went to high school together.
Yep.
I was a sophomore, you were a freshman, so I was a grade ahead of you.
Yep.
So yeah.
So who was the bad influence, you or was it him?
Our buddy Jacob, the older one.
Yeah.
He's a junior.
Yeah. He got married young. Didn't last. But now he works for like a church or something, which is completely.
I don't know. I see him doing that.
Yeah. The first time I ever got drunk was with Jacob and the other Jacob. And I didn't realize, so I had never been drunk before. I wasn't one of those kids that drank a lot in high school because my parents were very strict.
No, we were. That was like real bad for us. Like this weekend.
So we did not drink a lot, and somehow we got a hold of some Smirnoff and Bacardi.
Bacardi rum, wasn't it?
Yes, the Bacardi rum and
like it was raspberry flavored, I think.
It was. I will never drink that again. So we're like, I think, did we put it in the freezer? We were trying to freeze it, not realizing you can't actually freeze alcohol.
Yeah, that was
That's
other
awesome.
Jacob's idea of like he didn't want water in it. He just wanted to drink alcohol. He's like, so if we freeze ice cubes, then we'll just have a drink that's chilled with the alcohol and it'll melt. And obviously we waited hours and hours and hours and it's not melting. We're like, what is going on?
Yeah. So my dumbass, not ever being drunk before, didn't realize, when you start drinking, it takes a minute to kick in. So we started just doing shots of the Bacardi Raz, and I was drinking it out of the bottle like in gulps. Like, oh, I'm not getting drunk. So I gulped a lot of it. Let me tell you, about 15 minutes later, it hit me. I got the spins really bad, and then I spent the rest of the night hugging your toilet.
Not only that, but we had a couple of girls over with us, and about as soon as Keith started to feel sick, one of the girls was like, I need to go home right now, and I need you to give us a ride. And it's like, what? Like, of all times, like,
no.
it was the worst.
Yeah.
Not the night we envisioned. And I don't think we were if I remember correctly, we tried to make rum ice cubes, but we did not chill the rum itself in any other way. So other than like if you got to drink one of the ice cube tray shots, like it was just hot rum.
Yep. I drank it straight out of the.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not good.
All the
Not a
good
good.
old days.
And then I had to go to work the next day. I obviously called in late, and man, I was.
Oh
Eating
yeah.
life.
It was rough.
After that too, when I would have people get me alcohol, I didn't want to drink beer, like because we hadn't drank much. So I would always have people get me like the Smirnoffs or Bacardi, like malt liquors, and I'm like, man, why after 3 of these does my stomach hurt so bad?
Yep, I was the same way. I hated the taste of beer. Hell, up until like I went down the pit, like my junior year of college. So I would be the guy that, hey mom, because she would let me drink when I was about 19, 20, as long as I was with them and not going anywhere. So I'd have her give me the Smirnoff ices, and then the Bacardi hard ice or whatever it was. Yeah, I would drink like 4 of those. I'm like, oh, I'm starting to feel it, but my stomach with all the sugar in it.
Oh, you're so full of that malt beverage. Yeah.
There was one time, I think my dad might have mentioned this on one of the podcasts he was on, where they were out of town.
Yeah,
they were out one night, and instead of picking the tons of Miller Lite he had in there, I could have gotten away with, I chose the wine cooler that it was only 4 of. Well, and I'm like, I tried the beer. It was disgusting. Like, I couldn't even.
Was that you and Laura that did that?
I think Rebecca. Yeah.
I figured it was you and a girl.
I don't think I ever drank with Laura.
I could see that.
Because
we didn't.
We were younger. Like
Yeah.
we were. I think I was a sophomore.
We were
pretty young. But a lot of people drink at that age. But we weren't that group.
We were
which
band kids.
probably for the better. Yeah, we were band nerds. But
not that we didn't get in. I mean, I say that, but like we also spent our time off on pep band games, getting everybody's cars like doing donuts and getting them on 2 wheels and shit in the teacher parking lot.
Doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
We just did different stupid stuff.
Yeah.
I destroyed my Mercury Topaz at halftime during pep band.
I drove that car on 2 wheels.
Yep.
We tried to make it spin out, ripping the e-brake, and it got up on 2 wheels, and it.
Fun times.
Good car.
Yeah. It's funny, like as a kid, like just getting your driver's license, you try and do all the stupid shit.
Oh yeah,
and that's
I didn't
all
even
you
have
wanna
my
do.
license. The first time that it was Rebecca's mom's car versus your mom's Toyota the first time I ever drag raced. And I convinced Rebecca to let me drive her car. I think it was you in your mom's Toyota down Edgewood. We went to a party over kind of by my parents' house, and we raced down Edgewood. I don't think we even hit 65.
Oh,
We
yeah.
probably went a half mile.
Yep.
But that was the first time I ever raced. I didn't have a license at all. And like that's what I was concerned about. We're at a party where everybody's drinking, and I'm like, who will let me borrow their car so we can go try drag racing?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not interested in drinking. We want to go race.
Yeah.
we're like, are you guys sober enough to do this? Haven't drank at all.
Yep.
Don't plan to. I just want to borrow your car.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
Yep. I had to buy I wanted a first car and I didn't want to wait to save up, so I bought my buddy's 1986 Mercury Topaz for $300. The transmission was already going out on it, but I'm like, screw it, I still want it, just so I have a freaking car.
Really good car to drive real hard.
Yeah. I think I think I had it for 2 weeks. I had a really bad luck with cars, like as a growing up.
You donated several to charity.
Yes, I bought it was a LeBaron, Chrysler LeBaron convertible. I'm like, cool, convertible. I bought it when it was still kind of cold out, so I didn't really get to use it. And then the water pump went out. And then my parents didn't want to fix it, so then I had to donate that car and it ended up getting my uncle's truck that I had to buy, but had to use graduation money for that. So I had a really cool 1980... later 80s model F-150.
Yeah, it was a nice truck.
Loved that thing. Inline six engine was awesome. No issues with that truck. I wasn't doing anything stupid. Had it parked at my girlfriend's house, and then some guy decided to plow into it during the snow and took off.
Yep.
And of course, I only had liability-only insurance, and it was totaled.
And then didn't your mom's car get destroyed at a different girlfriend's house? Like similar situation. You come home and
Yeah, so we went to the stupid Nutcracker, which I will never do that again. So we went and saw the Nutcracker. So I drove to her mom's house with my mom's car at the time and parked it in the street. We left, came home, and found that somebody had backed into it and just left it there. And luckily, it was one of their neighbors, and he came out and was like, hey, I'm sorry I backed into it. Well, I have had such bad luck with cars, and my dad knows that we like to do stupid stuff. So my dad immediately didn't believe me, like at all. He's like, no, he was out doing something and just trying to make this excuse. Luckily, her mom was like, no, literally, he was with us at this stupid thing, and we got the neighbor. So, but my dad was very mad on his way up there. He punched a hole in the door at home when he first heard it because he thought I was lying and wrecked my mom's car.
that's so funny because you really weren't that bad of a kid at all.
No, I just had really bad luck with cars.
Jeez.
Yeah. My parents got off easy because my sister didn't drink it either. Like, we were pretty good. My parents are very strict. My dad's one of the guys that he's very nice, very good to get along with, but you do not want to get him mad. And I hate confrontation. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do whatever I got to do to not get you mad at me.
Which is kind of hard to believe because you like to egg things on
Well,
a
now
lot.
I like to egg other people on, not me. Like, I want you to do this. Yeah. My sister was the one that liked to push the envelope and kind of argue back with him. Yeah.
I can see that.
Yep. And my mom, because we got away with a lot with my mom. And then as soon as she's like, well, I'm going to get your dad involved, I'm like, okay, good kid.
I'm done.
Yep. Whatever you say. Don't tell dad. Just whatever you do, don't tell dad.
You want the laundry done for the week? Dishwasher done? What?
Dude, we had to do a bunch of chores. Like, kids nowadays don't do chores. We had a laundry list of chores to do.
Yep.
Which is how I learned how to do laundry and dust and all this stuff.
Vacuum.
My wife is so lucky because she doesn't really clean much. I do most of it. I do all the laundry. She cooks. I do everything else for the most part. She does help out with cleaning sometimes. Luckily, she doesn't listen to this podcast anymore.
It's funny what you learn about your spouse too. Like once you actually move in together and see like what their family taught them as far as all that stuff goes.
Yep.
Like my wife and I probably cook equally now, but I taught her a lot about cooking to begin with. Like
Really? That's cool. I know how to cook tuna helper. I could cook a steak, but
You and that tuna helper.
it's not my thing.
I clearly like food And
I like food too, but I like to not cook it. Like if it's more than like a couple things I got to put together, I don't want to mess with it like at all. Like for lunch, I'll make a cold sandwich. So won't even toast the bread. Just take regular bread, put some mayo, cheese, and whatever meat, and that's it. Good enough for me. My wife is like, oh man, you need to do all this stuff. I'm like, I don't have time for it. So when she's home and I'm still working, she makes like these toasted sandwich with all this crazy stuff on it. I'm like, it's delicious, but I would never go to the extent to
it's
make a
not
freaking
worth the
sandwich.
effort to
No.
you for
But she loves doing that.
I'm so lazy. I'll just make a peanut butter sandwich because I'm too lazy to open up the fridge and put jelly on it.
See, I'll always put jelly on it.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah.
Straight peanut butter. There we go. We're done.
You know what's really good? Peanut butter and marshmallow. Have you ever had that? The marshmallow fluff?
I've not tried
I
that.
haven't tried it.
It's so good.
Have you guys tried like the Gruber burgers with the peanut butter on a burger?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Our
Shockingly good.
One of our favorite restaurants that unfortunately closed because they couldn't recover from COVID had a peanut butter and jelly burger.
oh,
Yeah.
so good.
For the longest time, I didn't want to try it because it sounded gross. But now, I mean, once I tried it, there was no going back.
Yeah.
Just
Because
like
it was peanut butter, which is creamy and it kind of melts. They didn't over put peanut butter, but then they had a pepper, like a jalapeno pepper
yeah.
jelly.
Yeah, those are awesome.
So since they closed, Marie's kind of been
Trying to
those.
make it, yeah. What restaurant was it?
Tabert's across the street from Lucas Liquor off Metcalf.
I know the area. But
They had the best pretzel sticks.
If you're ever in Sedalia, just about any burger place there does the Gruber burgers because I guess that's where it started. So,
So what exactly is a group? Is that what it?
that just peanut butter on. I think the other thing too is they use, so it's kind of the opposite of what you normally would do. Like they use a very fatty cut of burger and then cook it down like a whole lot, but it's not a lean cut of beef. It's a very, very fatty consistency of beef, which is supposed to complement, I guess. And they use crunchy peanut butter usually. And it's really good. I was so skeptical, but I was going down to the lake. We stopped in Sedalia, and a buddy's like, "You got to try one of these." I'm like, "All right, guess I'll buy a second burger after I hate this thing."
Yeah, it does not sound like initially a peanut butter on a burger does not sound good.
No.
That's why I stayed away from it for so long. But now once I've had it, I'm like,
Man, I want
I
some more.
don't want to have a burger without peanut butter on it now. Like it's so good. And the same thing with like pizza and cream cheese. Like
Cream cheese?
Pizza Shuttle. Have you ever been there?
Uh-uh.
So
I've seen the space.
The cream cheese I've had.
the
like
original
breadsticks.
Pizza Shuttle in Lawrence is where we used to go, but now they opened one out here in OP.
Yeah,
Oh, there's one downtown too.
135th
Oh, really?
and Quivira.
Yeah.
So it sounds gross, but go there and get a pepperoni and cream cheese pizza. You will never go back.
Their cream cheese breadsticks are, oh my God.
Have you tried Old Shawnee Pizza's Crab Ragoon pizza?
I haven't been there in so long.
It's one of their top selling items. Now, I would only get it like the lunch pizza. I've gotten it both ways. And like as a whole pizza, like I'd rather get 2 small pizzas and have like some other, because after like 2 things, like it's like, man, I've eaten so much cream cheese at this point. Like, but it's good, but in a certain amount.
Yeah.
Well, that's the cool thing about Pizza Shuttles. You can get that little personal pizza.
Yeah.
And even then, you could break that into 2 meals.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, go there for either lunch or dinner next time you guys are out here. Pepperoni and cream cheese.
I'll give it a
They'll
try.
thank me.
I know they got their cream cheese breadsticks, and those are like, oh.
I haven't had those, but those
Oh
sound
my God.
freaking delicious.
I've seen this
They-
craze on the internet lately of these giant mozzarella sticks. I mean, they're like a burrito. I want to try one so bad.
Like just filled with cheese and that's it.
Yeah.
Damn.
They're just huge, breaded, like kind of like a little bigger than like the Italian dunkers we used to have in school, but like a mozzarella stick.
Damn. Nice.
Yeah.
I love cheese, but my doctor says I need to limit myself. That's why now instead of like having like actual ground beef burgers, we make turkey burgers.
Yeah.
So she found a way to actually make them good with the peanut butter and jelly and stuff on there. So the way she makes them, I mean, she's not a huge fan of burgers like that, like turkey burgers, but I'm like, hey, you make them like they're good the way whatever she does.
We do that with pretty much most of our pasta and like taco. Like if it's heavily seasoned, we rarely can tell a difference. Chili too, or like sometimes my wife will do half turkey, half beef, and
I'll even do ground pork and like ground sausage
yeah,
just to mix it up.
yeah.
So.
Welcome to the Workbench After Hours Food Network.
Yeah, we went on a rabbit hole there.
Yes, I've become kind of a foodie, I guess. I used to be so picky as a kid. Chris still thinks I'm picky, but not really. Okay, so
I don't like cucumbers. I don't like lettuce. I don't like tomatoes.
No, I like lettuce. I just don't like. I don't like cucumbers.
anything green, avocado.
Vegetable.
I like green beans and peas. I don't like avocado. No, that stuff's nasty.
So good. So
But
you don't like guacamole?
No, I don't.
Oh my god.
That's just wrong.
Is it the end of the world? No.
Yes, it is.
There was a shortage anyway, so I'm just saving you people from.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a shortage on everything.
But I'm not as picky as I was when I was younger because I would eat a plain cheeseburger from McDonald's, like nothing on it, 2 buns, and the meat patty. That's it. That's how picky I was.
God, that sounds dry.
Yeah,
My parents used to have to call the school cafeteria, and there was like a lunch lady that kind of monitored everything. They used to have to come over and write down how much I ate and would send that to my parents just because I would never eat because I was so picky.
I had the opposite. Me and 3 other buddies were the first kids in our elementary school to have to get notes to be allowed to buy double lunches.
See, what I'd do is pack my lunch, sell it, and then go buy like the pizzas and the subs.
Yeah.
Yeah, once I went to high school, that was kind of the end of it because then because I always got those no-bake cookies.
Yeah, those
Oh
were
my God,
delicious.
those were so bad for you because there's nothing but
yeah,
sugar.
there was. I mean, it didn't matter what was on the menu for the day. There was enough good stuff there. The taco salad was good. The chicken strips were good.
Oh yeah, chicken strips. We had Domino's pizza or Papa John's, right?
Papa John's.
Which one was it?
We had Papa John's for 2 years. I think we had Little Caesars for 2 years.
Okay.
Well, that's mine. Yours might have differed because you're a year different than me. But yeah, we had Little Caesars in the beginning, and then it went to Papa John's. I liked it better when it was Papa John's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Little Caesars, you knew what you were getting. Like, it wasn't bad pizza, but they paid $5 for the whole thing, and you're paying $3 for one slice.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's why. So I got a job when I was a freshman because my dad was like, "You're spending way too much money on lunches." Because I would buy, the pizza was not cheap.
No.
And then,
especially if you got more than one slice.
Yeah.
right, or the chicken fingers and stuff. Unless you got like the actual like main lunch of the day, and that was it. It got pretty pricey, and then they had cookies. Oh my god, the dark chocolate freaking ones. I'd have to get those, and so that's obviously cost. So I had to start chipping in a lot of money for my lunches in high school. Yeah,
no, I blame high school for my eating habits to this day. I sat at a table of mostly, like, a lot of my friends from elementary school ended up being like the jocks. So I sat at a table that was overcrowded with like a mixed group of jocks from high school. I'm not into sports at all. And the way that these guys viewed food at all, it was like if you got up to get a ketchup packet,
It's gone.
and it wasn't, you couldn't be mad at one person because 3 different people ate one of your chicken strips and then 3 other guys ate the rest of your fry. Like, everybody at the table consumed your meal in 30 seconds. So you couldn't leave your food untouched, and you had to just eat as fast as you could if you wanted to go through the line one more time, if you were still hungry.
yeah.
So I eat super quick now.
It's almost like you were in the military.
Yeah, people ask.
So you were in the military. Was it like that to where you had to?
Yeah, but
Freaking chow down like
I've
crazy?
always been a fast eater, like even before the military. But like 10, 15 minutes. Like, and usually how they did it, the first person to sit down, that's when the clock starts.
Oh,
So if you're
Jesus.
at the end, you better fucking be able to chow. But
I bet your cat likes that.
How was the quality of the food?
breakfast was always the best. Usually, like, I loved Wednesdays because it was slider day, so you always got burgers, fries, and whatnot. And then Saturday nights was pizza and wing night.
What'd you guys have for breakfast?
Oh, they'd make you, it was like, they'd make you omelets and stuff
Really?
right there on the ship. Or they always had eggs, bacon, sausage, fresh fruit. You had little packets of cereal and milk.
Man.
The only thing that sucked is on my ship, we were a healthy ship, so we had a juice bar and said, but you got all these other ships, they all had like fucking soda. And I'm like, fuck, man, why can't we get this shit? And they're like, oh, it's because you guys are the healthy ship. I was like, fuck that. I was like, I want a fucking Coca-Cola with my lunch or dinner.
Man, speaking of eggs,
Oh, that was all day?
Yeah.
Eh,
All day. You'd have to go. We had a vending machine you'd have to go pay for. It was like 50 cents a can, but I was like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
They had fucking ready to go. I was like, man, Oh, that pissed me off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of like Coke or like soda in general. Like I'll
Well-
have a Diet Coke every now and then.
I could live off of tea for the rest of my life and be
Problem
fine.
is, like,
okay, Uncle Si.
you had like you'd be on watch. Like there was a time where I was doing 12 on, 12 off for watch standing. So you're on 12 hours. After that, if you were still in your working hours, you're supposed to go to work right after your watch. So you might get 4 hours of sleep. So you're pretty much wanting caffeine just to stay awake for your watch.
But coffee sounds so much better to me than pop.
I tried coffee. I don't know how many times. Like they always had fresh pots and stuff brewing, but I was like, I can't do this. So I always did soda or Monster.
Ugh.
You still not like coffee to this day?
I still can't. I've tried and tried and
I was
tried.
just curious if it was the ship or
No.
coffee in general.
Because
for
usually
you.
on the ship they had like Starbucks. There was just a big bag and you just pour it in. They made your own.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I can't do it. I've tried putting shit ton of milk, creamer, sugars. I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm kind of picky on my coffee. Like I
I
gotta have
used to
some
make
sort of
sugar
creamer.
water when I was younger. I used to. I mean, the amount of creamer and sugar in there that it wasn't even coffee. But I joined a duck club and they only drank black coffee, and I learned to like black coffee in the morning because it was cold as could be. And it's
Yep.
like, hey, I'm warm. I don't even care what it tastes like, and now I enjoy the taste of black coffee.
It's an acquired taste. I'm not there yet. I don't like black coffee. I gotta have some sort of creamer. I'm now on the almond milk
Yeah.
creamer and the almond creamer. So
Yeah, I'm still on the Monster, 0 sugar, 0 calorie.
I hate energy drinks unless they're like the coffee flavored ones. Like Black Rifle Company has a mocha one, so good. But the bad thing about those is there's a lot of sugar in
Oh
those.
yeah.
That's why I get 0 sugar, 0 calorie.
Yeah. Well, in the mochas, that's not.
Well, that's
A
because I
thing.
don't get that.
Yeah,
I can't even. I've tried the Monster Javas and stuff, and I still can't do them.
those are okay,
Yeah,
but I don't know. The Black Rifle Company ones are really really good, but I have those once in a blue moon just because of the sugar content.
I know Kat likes the Starbucks frappes, or she used to, and she'd get it, and I'd try it. I'm like, I can't do it.
Good too, but ton of sugar and
Yeah, I can't.
like calories, especially in those. The
Like 320, 400 for just a little frappe. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge coffee snob. I refuse to go to Starbucks unless that is my last resort.
There's
Like
a couple that my wife worked there when we first met, and so there's a couple drinks that I crave every once in a while, but
Yeah.
it is really hard. I mean, it's like, man, it's almost the price of a meal just for a cup of coffee.
Shit,
Like,
I
it's
don't
just
know.
not.
Especially
True.
now with inflation, like the price of coffee has gone stupid.
I went to McDonald's to get like 2 cheeseburger meal at a medium fry and a large drink. It was $10 fucking dollars.
Oh yeah,
I was like, I paid $6 for this. Not even a year and a half, 2 years ago.
it's almost not even worth going to anymore because you can go almost anywhere for $3-4 more bucks at this point.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Although I'm also kind of sick of like the mid-level places like a Five Guys or like
Yep.
somewhere like that, and then you want me to tip. Like,
Yeah, screw that.
no, like you're not even bringing me my food. I'm gonna stand right here and have to wait on
Yep.
you
Yeah.
to like no.
Yeah, I do. I eat a lot of Jersey Mike's.
Yeah.
Again, it's like, do you want a tip? No, like they didn't do anything. Like everywhere you go now gives you that option to tip.
Yep.
It's
I also learned like I used to do a lot of the like Panda Express, the charity thing.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore either because I found out that's just if you want to donate to a charity, like donate to the same cause. If you're gonna do it 10 times a year, just donate $10 and you'll get a receipt. You can write it off on your taxes. They're just having you help them reduce their tax bill.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
That or sign up for Acorns. Take that extra change and put it into another
I
account.
used to do that, yeah.
That's what one of the guys at work does. He told me, and he made a shit ton of money off of it in like 4 months. He's like, I didn't even realize how much money I was just wasting away.
The IRS is wanting to tax tips now. Do you see that?
That's stupid.
So, because you and I,
Yeah.
Jacob,
With bartending.
bartend on the side, I don't think it would necessarily affect us, but like, people that do it as a full-time job, as
It would
like a
affect
server,
our tips on the credit card machine for sure.
Yeah. They're wanting to somehow track the cash tips, and
Yeah. I'm sure
That's
that
stupid.
they've always wanted that. But
Well, if
Yeah.
they're going to do that, then they got to start paying
more than
$2.50 it is.
that's the big issue there.
Yeah.
too. It's
Because that's part of your wage was your tips. That's where you made your money. That's why they could pay you $2.
yeah, the whole IRS thing is such bullshit. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Should we transition into gun of the week?
yeah, now that we're 30 minutes in. All right, so now that we're done with the Food Network, I have the gun of the week, which is, so if you're somebody that's looking into getting into competition shooting, but don't want to spend a crap ton of money, because you can spend a lot of money on guns.
Not only that, but like, I think a lot of guys probably already have 2, 3, 4 pistols. And to me, rather than like continue down like my Glock obsession with like, I need to have every Glock that'll take a 9mm Glock mag in existence.
Yep.
I think this is a great way to get out and shoot something different, and like you get so much for your money with this gun.
So the gun this week is the Canik SFx Rival. So this, and I'll show you what it comes with here in a second, but so this is basically, it's made in Turkey. So if you don't know, Canik is made in Turkey, imported by, actually this is not it, this is a TP9. I grabbed the wrong one. All right.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. This is going to be the next gun of the week. But even this one, the TP9 SFX, is the original model. Man, these are freaking great. For what you get with the money for something that's competition ready is freaking ridiculous. Like Springfield, you used to get, like, I'm a huge Springfield fan, but I'm kind of disappointed because with the Springfield pistols, you used to get a case like this. You used to get multiple magazines. You get a paddle holster, all this stuff.
They'd run that rebate where you got 3 extra mags on top of everything that already came with the package. That already came with 2. You got like 5 and a holster, and
yeah, and then you get like the cleaning stuff and all this stuff, and now you basically get a cardboard box with the pistol case, maybe an extra magazine, and that's it. Like, I remember the XDM pistols I used to get. I loved the XDM line because of all the stuff that you got with it. Now, even if you buy the XDM Elites now, you still get the cardboard box with the freaking pistol case and maybe an extra mag, and that's it. Kind of sucks. But with the Canik line, much more, I guess, budget friendly for what you're getting. So let me go. I'm going to get the other one. All right. So the actual gun of the week, again, like I said, the Rival. So this is the updated version of the TPS-9 that I just had. And 5-inch gun, but this thing is decked out like crazy. So it is it has all these slide cuts in it too, because it's a 5-inch gun, kind of supposed to be heavy, but they have all these slide cuts to reduce weight. They also have cuts in the barrel, and the barrel is also fluted. They have adjustable rear sights with a
front fiber optic, right?
Yep, front fiber optic, and it comes with a crap ton of different plates depending on what, you know, RMR mount that you want to do, or red dot.
Depending on your retailer too, sometimes they will include an RMR. But then I would say, after researching RMRs recently, do your own research and pick your own RMR. I wouldn't buy a combo personally. But
yeah. Cool thing about Caniks, everything's ambidextrous. So you can change the mag release to whether you're left-handed, right-handed. Same thing with the slide lock. The trigger on these things are freaking ridiculous. So I don't know if you can really see this in the video. I'm going to do a separate video on this gun eventually, but it has a, you know, safety right here. Really no actual manual safety other than similar to the Glocks and some Springfield. It's got this little thing in front of the trigger you got to depress, but it breaks right at 90 degrees, and the reset is so minimal. Like, this is, for the under $600, what you get in this gun is unreal.
I would say for under $1,000, I've never felt a nicer trigger.
No. And like the small things, like, you know, where you put your index finger, like when you don't have your finger on the trigger, they got a little bit of texturing right there. So, you know where to put your finger, you stuff like that.
The round and chamber indicator is nice.
Yes, that is really nice on the back, because this is striker fired. So it like protrudes and has this like little red dot. So that's, hey, you got a round in the chamber. Once you pull the trigger, that goes away. So nothing's there. So, you know, hey, it's empty. Stippling on the back is pretty aggressive. And then the sides, not too bad. So nothing crazy. The mag release on this is very pronounced. So like, it's a very big mag release on this. Again, you get 18 plus 1 in the chamber. So this would not be Joe Biden approved. But it's just cool because, I mean, to adjust the sights are super easy on this. And then again, here, I'll pass this down so I can show you what you get. You also get this paddle holster that also has belt loops.
Which I think from just having seen the TP9, that one looks carbon fiber and the other one was like just a basic.
Right.
Which that's kind of cool.
Looks
I
carbon,
like
fiber. I don't know if it actually is or not. It just has that look.
Yeah.
But the fact that in this entire case that's in front of me, you're not going to be able to see it on camera, but you get a cleaning rod. You get another tool for anything else that you need. You get adjustable back straps. So you get like 2 other ones and then another tool. And then the cool thing about this is their tool set. So it's a little gun. But in this little gun, you have different screws that you need and stuff for changing out the slide cuts. But it's cool because it's like a mini little gun. Just something kind of cool. Yeah. Then you have your instruction manual. On the other side, you get, so with this one, you get 2 mags. But then you also get the mag loader, which is handy when you're trying to load in 18 rounds in a new mag. But the cool thing about these different plates for the RMR cut is they have sights on them. So that way, even if you put a red dot on here, it still has the rear sights to where you could co-witness.
Huh.
Nice.
Which is super nice. And then they also have some that don't have the back sights in case you don't want to co-witness. But in case you do, you have that option. And then it comes with a flared magwell if you want to put one of those on there if you're doing some speed loading.
Why wouldn't you? If you're going to use this as a fun race gun or
comes with
like that.
So the original mags that it comes with has plastic or polymer base plates. It comes with metal ones that you can swap out. You want to put a metal base plate on there.
So if you're more concerned about weight versus durability,
yeah.
I think for this gun I would stick with plastic, to be honest.
So
this isn't like a carry gun. This is a
competition gun.
Yeah.
I mean, you could carry it outside the waistband, but I mean, just what you get for the money. So this generally you can find for under around $600, maybe a little bit less. You can't beat it.
Yeah.
Like
it's a lot of gun for the money. I just recently saw one at a gun show maybe a month and a half ago, and I think Keith picked this thing up knowing like he could unload it on me. Worst case scenario.
I didn't know.
My next pistol is either going to be.
He does that a lot.
My next pistol is either going to be this Canik or the Palmetto State Armory Rock 5.7. It's one or the other.
The TPS-9, which I brought out earlier, was the original version of this. Basically, still comes with a bunch of cool stuff. A little bit cheaper, but this one has a lot more features. And
you get so much for them. I mean, think about what you go spend on just a holster or even an extra magazine. Like if it's name brand, that's $20. A holster, a decent holster usually runs $60-$70, you know.
Say you want to do your Glock and do a fluted barrel, you're looking minimum $150, $200.
And you have to pay more too if you're looking at like the same side that would be equivalent to a Glock 17. Well, then you have to get the one with the RMR plates on it, which there's already $150 more for that slide and.
Yeah, and it doesn't have all these aggressive. So the cool thing is, like on the front, the slide cuts are pretty aggressive.
Yeah, they are.
Not so aggressive on the back, but you still have those cuts. If you need to do any type of manipulation, you have that option. And it comes with adjustable. Like if you go buy a Glock pistol, the ones that are set up for competition, you have the basic of the basic. Like.
Yeah.
You're going to have to replace a lot of stuff. You still have the Glock trigger, which is generally 5 pounds. This trigger comes in just over 3 pounds out of the box.
The break on it feels so good. The reset is short. And you can tell it's right at that 90 degree when it's one of the best feeling triggers I've ever felt on a pistol.
So if you buy the Glock competition model, you're going to be upgrading the sight. You're going to be upgrading the trigger. Then you got to go buy, it doesn't necessarily hold 18 rounds. It doesn't come with the flared magwell option, the different plates, like it's
the textured stimpling and all that.
Yeah. I think this is probably one of the most underrated companies
I would agree.
Out there.
I could see them in 10 years being way more money. Way more money.
They also have a steel framed version of these.
Oh, geez.
If that's your thing, if you like all steel, they have a steel frame version.
I wouldn't in that gun personally, but I get it. Like it depends on. It could transition into a carry gun, and I would want that stuff on a carry gun probably.
Right.
But that I would just use for a very fun range gun that you outshoot all your buddies with, and they're like, why doesn't my Glock keep up with this?
Well, because your Glock doesn't have all these features out of the box.
Correct.
unless you want to spend even like I like Springfield. They have their competition model, which is generally the 5 1/4 inch barrel, has the fiber optic sights, front sight, which is nice, night sights on the back. But again, you used to get a bunch of stuff with it, like the paddle holster and all that stuff. Now you don't. So you're spending what you would on this gun with everything with it as just your base model for the Springfield and even the Glock. Then you got to go and buy all this other shit. So this highly underrated, but becoming more and more popular. They did come out with a concealed carry kind of subcompact model.
Yep.
The Canik did. I forget what it's like.
It's very reasonably priced too.
Yeah.
I want to say it's like mid 4s.
Yeah. Canik is.
I haven't heard of any
game changer
problems with like reliability or anything on them too. I've heard nothing but good things. We recently talked to a guy at a gun show, that same one that he had a $1,300 race gun and a Canik, and he was shooting his Canik over this $1,300 race gun. And he didn't do anything to the Canik. He's like, it just outperforms it.
I wonder how they can afford to give you what you get for the price.
They have to be doing everything in-house and getting, unless the materials are just that cheap.
I mean,
or they don't care that they're making much markup on everything either.
Doesn't Glock do everything in-house too? I mean, technically Glock is from Australia or Austria, now that they have that US Glock version too. But
I know that, well, it's a Turkish gun, and like if you look at, you can get a lot of quality. Like
there's shotguns over there in Turkey, or dirt cheap, and the quality and the engraving on them.
That's where I was actually going to say. I forget. I think it's Kentucky Arms. A buddy of mine just linked me this shotgun, and he's really big into shotguns right now. He has a true Benelli M4. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And he has the Mariner. It's a super expensive and bunch of stuff done to it gun. And he bought a clone from Turkey to just like not care about as much and shoot more. And he's like, man, this thing, like it can be almost an identical clone to a Benelli, like with very little money. And they were $270 or something versus the other guns like $1,700, $1,800, and before you do anything to it.
I just transferred a Benelli gun today. It was the semi-auto. It was originally for law enforcement. It was a 1301 tactical semi-auto, 18.5-inch barrel, but it also came with another one. But the price for those, I mean, you're looking well over $1,000.
Yeah.
And if
but I will say, if you've ever shot a Benelli semi-auto or a Beretta semi-auto, the gas system in those guns is unreal. I had a 28-inch Duck Super Black Eagle 2. That gun, you could shoot goose loads, 3.5s, I think they were, and you could hold the thing off your shoulder coming out of the blind and know you're 1.5 inches off your shoulder, and that thing hit about as hard as an AR would. I mean, it was incredible. I mean, you could hold it out like this and shoot it. I mean, it would kick, but I couldn't do that with my Remingtons or my Brownings that I've had, Mossberg, whatever. They all really, really kick compared to that. The gas system is unreal in those. And then I also had the one that had the stock with the rubber inserts down it, like all the way down. So the whole stock had cushion to it. That made a huge difference too.
Because I think a while back too, Benelli, I got bought by Stroger, or Stroger bought Benelli or something like that. And you could start seeing the resemblance in the guns. But Stroger was like quarter of the price, it seemed like.
So if you had to choose between the Beretta or the Benelli or the Turkish version, just if you had to go between the two,
I'd go Turkish.
It's hard to say. I mean,
is the reliability?
If money wasn't an object, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna sit here and say I would take the Benelli just because I can say I have a Benelli. Yeah. But that's like saying a Timex or an Apple Watch works great, but if you told me I could have a Rolex, I would still take the Rolex to say I had a Rolex. I'm not gonna lie, but is it any more functional? Probably not. It would just be to say that I had this elite brand and to know that they're also investments too. Guns aren't like most things. So I mean, when that goes on several generations and you have a high-end valued gun, it's going to hold its value versus that Turkish gun. That's the only reason I would say that. But if it's in your budget to not afford that, and same thing, training and ammo goes a long way. I'd rather have the Turkish gun and 1,000 rounds and some range time than the Benelli and no ammo and no range time.
Yeah.
But
Turkish, also over there, like when we got to go there, everything over there was like, you could, as a bargaining deal. So you're bargaining with them like, hey, I'll give you €5 for that shirt. Oh, no, I can't do it. Well, the guy right around the corner will do it for 2. And oh, okay, fine. And then he'd sell it to you for €2. It's like, what the like everywhere was that way. And like, it was hard to tell. Like I bought my wife a full Louis Vuitton like set, and you couldn't tell the difference. You couldn't tell if it was real or fake.
Yeah.
So everything, the quality, the craftsman over there was just nuts. And I wish I would have bought a shotgun over there.
Yeah.
I wish I would have done that. The one they brought on the brochure, I was like $1,200 for a shotgun. I can go back to the States and get something nicer. But
how getting that back into the States though? How would that have gone?
That's a good question. Yeah.
well, on the ship, you can sit. We had an armory. They just keep it down in the armory for you until you get back, and you'd have to claim it on because we did at the end of a deployment. They'd come on. Do you have anything you want to claim that you bought overseas? A lot of people just said no.
Yeah.
So then customs wouldn't say anything.
Oh, so that's I've heard of stories of guys that like brought back Harleys and stuff, kind of like
Yeah.
the same thing. If you have a room, they'll allow it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and like liquor, like you could buy liquor over there, but you'd have to put it in what we called our liquor storage cabinet. But it had to be,
You couldn't consume it.
you couldn't consume it, and then you couldn't buy stuff that was illegal here. So like
That
over
makes
there,
sense.
I bought 4 bottles of absinthe, and I was like, oh, it's legal over in the States. It's fine. I'll turn it in. If I wish I did not turn it in because they were like, oh, it's got actual wood warmer in it. It's illegal, and crushed them. All 4 bottles. I was like, fuck, I could have just hid that back in my Foot Locker.
That sucks.
Because I used to hide a lot of shit in my Foot Locker. Like I had bottles of alcohol in my Foot Locker, and what I do is I stack up DVDs and put it behind it, so it just looked like I had a bunch of DVDs. But actually, in reality, I had 4 bottles of liquor behind there. And on Saturday nights, I just take a couple swigs.
But you figured you'd take that back versus
Yeah.
stuff you would
Yeah.
drink
Yeah.
easier. Yeah, that sucks.
But if I would have known that, I would have just hid it because I had so many hiding spots.
Yeah, I've
Everyone-
heard some cool stories of
Yeah.
a lot of stuff brought back, like Rolexes that are worth a ton
yeah.
more money in the States. And
Yeah, I bought 2 like fake Breitling watches, and you can't freaking tell the difference.
yeah,
It's ridiculous what's over there.
yeah,
Same thing with the, during World War II, soldiers were bringing over the Lugers.
Yep.
yep.
Those things go for a crazy amount
Oh
of
yeah,
money.
yeah.
Yeah, as long as there's room, like people
Any
would buy
German memorabilia is
Yeah, people
is
would buy
unreal.
guns all the time and put them in the armory, and they'd just be just for them. When we got back, they claim it and then take it home. Like, man. What
I
was
saw a guy, he was a military contractor, and he accepted a deal to go help fight in Ukraine, and they offered him like a large sum of money to come help because he's like a well-known
Yeah.
private contractor. And he goes, I don't want any of that. He goes, and there was like over $100,000 for like a 3-month contract. He goes, all I want is you to allow me to bring back any and all guns that I take off of enemy combatants. And he's like, I'm bringing back 100 AKs.
Yep.
So speaking of military, Jacob, we should move on to.
Military
ACOG.
style rifles and sights.
So Joe Biden, hopefully he's not watching this.
So this is my recent BCM build. I basically bought the lower and upper separate, but it's a replica of a Rec E16 that you can buy off of their website. Other than I have just a standard A2 flash hider on it compared to, I think they put a Bravo Mod 0 comp or Mod 1, I don't know, one of their comps on it, which I'm not sold on their comps. I researched it. I was going to do a 14.5 pin build. And then I realized I'm going to want to suppress this gun at some point, and doing a pin build, if I didn't do like a Surefire War comp with a QD mount, which that's a $300 comp, then basically makes me have to buy a Surefire QD attachable suppressor, which I'm not sure that that's the suppressor I want in the future. So I went with a 16 so I can change whatever muzzle device I want for 1.5 inches of barrel. It's not that much weight. So I'm happy with it. And then I did a lot of research on optics because I knew I wanted to put something like, this is one of my dream build ARs. I've wanted to build this gun for a long time, and I wanted something that I'm not going to change 6 more sights out. And I was looking at a lot of like the 1-4s, 1-6s, 1-8s. I was ready to spend some money, and I watched several reviews, some like guys I can't even remember the names of, as well as like Garen Thumb and Lucas at T-Rex Arms, all reviewed the ACOG as like I feel like I fit into it. I wish I didn't, but I'm not the guy that goes to the range every week anymore. Like when ammo prices went up, I just kind of quit. And both of them said, like, you can put this scope in the hands of most people and you can hit out to 400 yards very, very easily. It doesn't need batteries. And Lucas from T-Rex actually took the thing off of his rifle. It was already zeroed in. Took it off his rifle. He throws it about 30 foot in the air and lets it hit gravel. And then he chucks it and skips it across the ground. And it goes probably 40, 50 feet from him, bouncing on the ground. Puts it back on his rifle, and he hits 3 consecutive shots at 400 yards on a 12-inch plate. And he's like, if I did this with any, he's like Vortex or Night Force, he's like, I've ran a lot of those, great scopes. He goes, if I did that to both of those, they'd be completely out of sight alignment. Like, arguable on which one would actually get back into alignment versus which one wouldn't. But he's like, I've broke more of those than anything else. And he goes, I've never broken ACOG. Now, I'm going to be running an RMR on top of mine. I have stuff ordered to put a plate right here, and then the RMR sits on the top. Lucas from T-Rex Arms made a good point. They make one. This is it's the 35 model versus the 43, I believe, is the difference. But the battery-powered one, which isn't fiber optic, which I didn't like as much, has the RMR plate on the front, and it makes a nicer RMR picture, which I liked, but I didn't want to run batteries. I don't know. I don't want to have to worry about batteries. That's why I'm not spending this much money to worry about batteries. That's one of the draws to the ACOG, in my opinion. So I went with this one, and I do have to run it back further. And this one has the shortest of all the ACOGs sight picture. You need to be 1.5 inches with your eyes behind the reticle for perfect alignment. Now, what's kind of neat is it says ACOG, like it's kind of a copyright thing. So when you get too far forward in your sight picture, at the very bottom of the ACOG, it says ACOG on there. If you can read ACOG, you're in danger of scope ringing yourself. So it's both to tell you that and then a way to check if it's a traditional, like true ACOG versus a knockoff, which I thought was pretty cool. The weird thing is I've had to run my backup sights in front of it, and I've seen some guys that have got around it, but I'm not comfortable yet. I'm going to try it this way. I haven't sighted the gun in yet or shot it even. But when I put it behind, there's not enough room for me. I have to be way up here with my cheek. Like, I don't know. I've been practicing different. Like, I've seen that you're supposed to pull your rifle up. I normally run it all the way out and then put it to your cheek and then bring it forward. And when I was doing that with it any further forward than this, it just wasn't comfortable to me. Like,
Right.
You guys are both more than welcome to look down that too. But when you do it right, you get a very clear, quick sight picture. And then on the ACOG, what I really like is this is great for basically, like, I would say 50 yards and out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm going to run the RMR on top. But you get these numbers on there, like the 4 and I believe a 6, and it makes it really, really quick to make those adjustments. If you know someone's at 400 yards, you just quickly move it up, and you're hitting 400 yards all day long. So you zero in 100, and the rest of it is good to go. Not a cheap optic, but knowing I won't break it,
Right.
throwing it around, and this would be a rifle, like, worst case scenario, if something happened,
Shit hits the
it,
fan.
yeah, I mean, it would be what I would carry on my back, and I don't want it to smack a ladder or drop on the ground and be out of zero, you know?
So, obviously, you got the lower through us. It said it was a blem.
I can't find a blem on it.
That's the cool thing about most BCM blems is most of us aren't going to know what that is. So I see you got the BCM.
I missed the opportunity to get the matching blem upper. I thought it would be around longer, and it was only there for a day. I could have got the upper for like $600, and I'd have been in this rifle for like under $1,000.
What is the? So what upper? So this is a BCM
That is
upper.
it's the BCM 16-inch. It's their Recce 16 upper. It's a mid-length gas system with
So you bought the whole upper
complete and
Okay.
test fired, yeah. And it's a 15-inch MCMR M-lock handguard.
Never seen that logo on there. The BFH. Is that just their
So
the way
that's
they lock it to the
no,
the handguard?
that's the BFH is the barrel. So that is the forged barrel. It's hammer forged.
Okay.
You get the option. I paid a little bit more for that barrel because it's like a 50 to 60,000 round barrel. compared to their basic barrel. It's a fluted, lightweight barrel, so it's very thick up near the handguard, but it then pencils down to a thinner barrel, so it gives you that light weight, and that's one of the industry's lightest weight handguards, which is nice. It's not quite as strong as like a Geisley or a Daniel Defense, but I've never heard of anybody losing 0 on, like a laser or anything. And the plans I have for it, outside of what you see, I'm not dead set on that sling. It is a Magpul MS1, QD sling. It's an $80 sling. It's not a
cheap
bad sling. But that's off of that pistol that I'm thinking about selling. So I don't know if I'm going to go that color or what I'm doing. But I'm going to put I believe a Streamlight Pro Tac 2 is what it's called. It's a pretty good value, 1,000 lumen light on it. And then I'm putting obviously an RMR on it, which I went with a Vortex Venom 6 MOA. After researching it, I was going to do the 3 MOA, and they're like, this will let you hit 100-yard shots. And I'm like, if I'm looking at 100 yards, I'm going to be looking through that ACOG.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be looking through, an RMR. And they're like, basically anything within 50 yards, you're going to quickly acquire it through that. And for me, thinking about like transitioning from looking through that ACOG quickly up, I went with the 6 MOA because it's all going to be within 50-yard shots on that. Is what I view it as. And then that's my first
ambidextrous.
Yeah, it came with that. It came with the ambidextrous sight, and one thing that saved me some money. So I think God, I hope Natalie doesn't watch this fucking episode.
Is that I mean, just that charging handle.
I think I'm like $300 in this whole rifle. No.
Well, just that charging handle is like $75.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's
it came with the
ambidextrous.
ambi, so that the because I bought the barrel, the hammer forged barrel, and I believe it comes with the ambi no matter what.
So if you were to buy a Ricky 16, this is the same handguard you would get?
It's the exact same
same
handguard and charging handle that you would get.
So I know I watched a lot of Mr. Guns of Gear, and he had a Recce 16, but his was like a burnt bronze.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. But that was
they do charge more for any color change too, which I wanted to do, but I couldn't justify it just for a color. But no, I'm 1150-ish in the whole rifle without sights or anything, just the basic rifle.
So basically, you're twice that with the sight, right?
Oh yeah. So the sight was over $1,000. It was like $1,000. It was like $1,100.
Yep. And you went with so there's two options. There's the green and red.
Yeah.
You went with the red.
I went with the red. I thought about it. I watched a lot of video because it's an expensive purchase. There's a lot of options.
Yep.
I decided on the model I wanted first. Then you can get what people refer to as the donut, which is like it's basically 75% of a circle over the top, which I didn't like because it blocks a lot of your sight picture, with a red dot in the center of it. And I didn't like that one as much as the chevron, which is just like kind of like an arrow like this at the top. And the green, it seems cool, but when you're watching people like do reviews on these and you see a green one and even a yellow one, when they're like out looking at a hay field,
it's hard to see.
Yeah, I don't want to lose it in everything we have around here that's green and yellow between hay or trees, foliage. Red is going to show up perfectly. Green, it just wasn't going to do the same
red's
job.
also better for at night too.
Yeah,
because your eyes are it's a natural relaxer for your eye.
And now everything I saw, it led to me thinking this was going to be an etched reticle during the day and a red reticle at night only.
Yeah.
I have looked through this thing during the day about 1 million times. I've never seen anything but a red reticle. So I don't know what to say there. Now, I did get this, I forget what type of sale they were doing. It wasn't anything special. It wasn't President's Day or Black Friday or anything, but I bought my upper. They did give me a free bolt carrier group, and I don't think they've done that in years. And from what I read, the BCM bolt carrier group for a mil spec bolt carrier is the highest rated bolt carrier group in the industry. So I wanted to keep it all BCM. I researched. The only thing I was thinking about doing different was maybe doing a Radian Raptor charging handle and maybe doing a different bolt carrier group. And when I researched all of it, I'm like, well, the BCM has just as high reviews to keep it all together because I have a Radian Raptor on my other rifle and I like it a lot. And the bolt carrier group had higher reviews than anything at all, unless you get into lightweight bolt carrier groups. But you get into some finicky stuff with like your charging system and stuff with that. And I'm like, I just want it to run. It's all meant to go together. I don't want to. This is the one that I don't want to have problems with.
Yeah,
and that's why I went with the ACOG. Run. Yeah, because I want to be able to drop this thing on the ground and not worry about did my Vortex, $1,400 scope just come out of alignment. You know what I mean? That's the last thing you want, because then now I'm using backup sights, and I hope to never use these. But I did go with the new. I haven't tried these yet, and I'm excited to play with them. These are the MBus 3s, which I haven't. I have MBus 2s on everything else, so they're a little bit taller, and they have a better adjustment system. I like them a lot better than what's on my other rifles. I'm thinking about changing. I have one that doesn't have Magpul sights on it. It has some other metal iron sights. I'm thinking about going to these on that, because I can get these in gray too, and they match the Daniel Defense furniture I have on my other one. I don't know why I went with gray. It doesn't blend into fucking anything, but it's a cool looking rifle.
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, would you say that the ACOG so far is
I'm
worth the money?
happy with my purchase. Yes, I would not change a thing. We'll have to revisit this after I break in the rifle and shoot it, of course. But everything that I researched led towards this was a good purchase, especially for who I am. I had to be honest with the shooter that I am. Do I want to be Billy Badass? I wish I was. But for knowing that I can sight this thing in, there is no auto turn on, no batteries that fail. The sight's going to be on no matter what. And then I have the backup of an RMR on top of it, and then the backup of iron sights on top of that. There should be no scenario that I can't make this rifle run for me in any scenario. The only thing I don't like is having to run my backups up here a little bit higher. But honestly, if I'm at that point, I already had 2 optics fail. It's been a really shitty day, and I'll fucking deal with it.
Can you co-witness the
I think these
iron
are
sights?
too tall to do
so?
that. I was looking at it originally, and I think that and the zoom, between that and the standard 4x zoom, I would not run them up.
So the a lot of the other sites, like the Sig Romeo and like the EOTech, so they have just a regular sight plus the magnifier that you could add on. Do they have a magnification option with the ACOGs, or what you get is what you get?
What you get is what you get. And that was one difference. Like the battery powered one was 3.5 times, and this is a 4 times. It's not that big of a difference, but it's a difference, But that optic also was a little bit lighter and a little bit shorter, and you ran the RMR up higher, and it doesn't have the fiber optic thing. That's the only thing I've been told about these rifles is if you do protect anything, is to protect the fiber optics. They're pretty strong and rugged, but if anything breaks, that's what breaks on them is the fiber optics. But it's an etched reticle beyond that. So even if the fiber optics break, you still have black lines where it was. You're just going to be hurting at night.
Yeah.
Do you ever have to change out that fiber optic at all?
No, it'll run till the end of days. Actually, my friend in the military, she said they prank new people telling them to go find the ACOG batteries. And obviously they don't take batteries. They just run endlessly. So
a lot of people. We do a lot of pranks in the military, if y'all don't know.
But that being said, if I did do one thing differently, this was purely budgetary, because we've talked about how much my wife is going to murder me if she sees this episode. I would do the Troy battle sights. They have a tritium set of battle sights that are flip up, and that would be the one thing I think I would top this rifle off with instead of what I did. But these are $70 backup sights, and we're talking about my 3rd line of defense on optics at this point. And they're polymer and lightweight compared to the Troys, but the Troys are like truest in the industry. Throw them on the ground, they won't break, and they're like Glock night sights, like tritium glow in the dark night sights, but they're $240 something. So
at this point,
for a pair of iron sights that you hope to never use, that I almost pulled the trigger on them, and I'm like, I just can't.
I don't think you have enough backup. You should go ahead and put the offset sights on as well, just as a backup to your 4 other backups.
I'll buy the Troys and some cantrip. Actually, I could put them on an M-lock set up on the 45, and
there you go.
There we go.
Just trying to sight all those different ones in.
Oh my God, it'd be a nightmare.
That some guys do that on a lot of other optics too. They do run a 45 degree, but where this sits, it just makes more sense for me. But what I didn't like, the one thing that kind of upset me, I knew this would accept an RMR, and I researched all of that. The one thing I didn't research and found out was I had to buy, and I found it on a President's Day sale from $115 down to $75, is the plastic plate that goes up here to attach my RMR to was $75. That's almost as much as my Magpul sights cost. Like,
Yeah.
just for the plate to put the RMR on. And then I got the RMR. I got Palmetto State Armory had a really good deal, a President's Day sale. It was like $250 down to like $170 for a 6 MOA RMR. And that's pretty cheap. It's a setup that Lucas from T-Rex, he has one that he packaged together that has the plate on top of it, the battery powered ACOG, which is just as much money as same price. You're not gaining anything. It's just tit for tat, like same price. And he included the Trijicon RMR on top of it. And that is like a $1,740 setup out the door.
So if the ACOG has that black etched reticle in case anything were to happen in it, how come you didn't just go with, instead of those Magpul sights that you have, why didn't you just go with like some offset sights as your backup?
My worry is the ACOG itself gets damaged in a way. It is forged aluminum, but it's not unrealistic to think that it could get run over. It could get dropped in a way that if this gets damaged to where the glass gets damaged or canted one way or another, and as easy as it is to take that off quickly and just chuck the ACOG, I wanted an option with backup sights just in case. I mean, because you really never know what's going to happen. I don't like that it doesn't co-witness, but I don't think even the lower EMBA sights would co-witness with this. It sits so low. But I want the option if shit does hit the fan. Now, they do make one. The Special Forces has another one that I looked at, and I went away from it too because it's not fiber optic. But it's the other model number that I sent you that I was looking at. So it's also maybe saved $30. But it has backup sights built into the top of it, so you can. But they're irons. But it's a built-in backup sight that they had put on top, and they don't have the fiber optics in it. But other than that, it's this ACOG set up that way, which was kind of tempting. And they say it's the most popular selling ACOG right now. But to me, when you lose the fiber optics, you're losing a lot. Like, the thing to me is that I can pick this up in the middle of the night.
Go.
And that's also why it's important to me to put white light on this thing, because one thing I've researched is it's great that you can see what you're aiming at, and you might be able to tell what you're aiming at. But if you can't identify what you're aiming at with the white light, it's not worth it. And the Streamlight that I'm going with, I'm between Streamlight and Surefire because I like both of their pressure pads. They have a momentary switch that's like really big, and then a little tiny button that will do solid on, solid off. And you don't, from what I've researched, you almost never do solid on. Like, you're doing like a blip of light, identify what you're shooting at, take the blip of light off, and you have an optic that can see at night. And that way you're not just putting this big light out at like shoot at the light.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm also, because of that, the only thing else I want to change on this rifle, it's just a standard A2 flash hider. It's not a horrible, it's military standard, but I think I want to do a 3-prong flash hider for now until I can afford a suppressor. A suppressor is the best flash suppressor out there. Like, take the sound suppression away. If you're shooting at night or even in like, dusk, dawn conditions, you're gonna just be putting this big flash signal of like, shoot at this. The comps are great. Like, they might take a lot of the recoil out of it. But if you're putting a big flash signature, you're just saying, shoot me where I'm at. And that's the last thing you want. To me, I would try to be as gray man as possible in any scenario. I'm not looking at like building a kit. I am looking at building a kit, but I'm not looking at building a kit to be like, I'm going to go and fight some force. It would be just to survive.
Yeah.
That would be my goal. It would be a couple of shots and that would be it, hopefully.
Nice.
But I'm happy with it so far. I'll definitely re-review it once we get some rounds downrange with it, and would love to have you guys try it out as well.
Yeah. Range day. Let's go.
That's one thing even Ryan mentioned. He's like, hey, I like your gun videos that you do, but it'd be nice to have some shooting montage to go with it. Kind of hard because the only thing near us is an indoor range, and
I have access to a pretty nice outdoor range. We could do. I can call in a favor and make a couple days happen here and there, but it needs to be nicer weather because it's all outdoor. So
right.
That's I can let you know too if you guys want to join. I'm gonna sight this in soon. I haven't fired it yet, but I'm not going to go to a local indoor range. It just doesn't make sense to me. I want to mark off exactly 100 yards and sight this in the way it's meant to be sighted in, you know. And I have to actually take it all apart because I want to sight in my irons first,
Mm-hmm.
and then I want to sight in my RMR and then the ACOG.
So Ryan actually went out to Parma Woods today. He asked me if I wanted to go, but I'm like, I gotta work. But he sighted in his AR-10 that we built him using mostly a Aero Precision builder set, and then some other things that he added on, which was pretty cool. But yeah,
It's not cheap. That's on my list of next things to build. Is I do want to try something Aero Precision. I think they're probably value wise, they're the Glock of ARs. Like, you don't get much more for your money that would like save your life for what Aero Precision gives you, in my opinion.
I would say BCM is the Glock of ARs, just because. Or
True.
Actually, I take
Well-
that back. So BCM is the AK of ARs, if that makes sense.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
they're going to run no matter what.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of videos of people that just run them in normal conditions, not like just full auto for
It's an AR, not an AK.
but they've run it not cleaning them, not lubricating them for thousands and thousands of rounds, and they run. So I guess BCM would be high. I would rank BCM higher than Aero any day.
Yeah.
I would agree. Yeah.
But Aero, I do a lot of stuff with Aero. Most of actually, the only ARs I have are all Aero. Deal a lot with them. I would put them up against anything, like even like Daniel Defense. I would.
I don't think you can get more for your money from what I've
Nah.
seen. I don't think you can get more for your money. I mean, BCM is awesome, but I think that Aero is probably a better value. Like,
And they started in aerospace, stuff,
Yeah.
and then they they kind of pivoted and
now, so I have a Delton, and I can't say enough good things about Delton. Like, you can buy a builder's kit and a separate lower end for $530. You can have a complete AR. That now they offer an M-Lock setup that, for the money, I would do that over Palmetto State Armory all day. I have a little over probably 3,400 rounds or so through my Delton. No problems at all. I've upgraded it quite a bit. It's seen 4 different builds now. From when I bought it, quad rails were the thing. It had so I went from the standard looking M4, plastic, short carbine plastic handguard to a quad rail. Then I went into my M-Lock. There might have been something in between there. I think I did key mod and then M-Lock. I had key mod for a very short amount of time, and M-Lock came out, and I'm like, fuck key mod, I'm going to M-Lock. And I've had no problems with that rifle. I put a Geisley super semi-automatic in it, though, and the only thing I've messed with both of these a lot in my garage, just late night when I was putting the scope on, I wonder what it compares to, because it has all Daniel Defense furniture on it, and I'm also going to put a BCM small stubby handguard on this, so that I've seen it helps a lot when you go to find your white light, to know where to grab. So playing with both the Geisley, I can't say enough about those triggers. It blows this BCM trigger out of the water.
well, that's a pretty stock BCM. I mean, they make upgraded triggers with the BCM.
They do. Yes.
That trigger that comes on that is just a polished.
Yeah.
It's still mil spec, just polished.
And it feels better than any other polish. I've had the Palmetto State polished, and I've had another more expensive than that. I forget aftermarket. I forget the brand, but I had a couple polished triggers, and they're not that impressive. This runs just as good, if not better, than any of those. But
you know what trigger I think
feel like my Geisley
is underrated is Elfman Tactical.
Really?
I had them. I did the 6.5 Cream build with the Aero Precision. They did the July builder set.
Yeah.
And I put an Elfman Tactical trigger in there.
What do they run?
I think that one was $181.
Yeah.
Skeletonized trigger. Drop in.
Yeah.
See, I just waited for a deal. I paid $170 for my Geisley on a
I mean,
Memorial Day, or on any Black Friday. They're gonna drop them down. They're about $240 normally.
Yeah.
Which I would say I would buck up. I mean, I would easily pay $240 for one. They're worth $240. That's how nice they are. And I did a super semi-automatic 2-stage. It's 1.5. It's 1.5 pounds to the first stage 1.7 to the second, but you can find that realm on the 1.7 and you can just keep it going at 1.7 pounds. It's unreal how easy it is to shoot. And that's what I don't like is like, this is such a better, I don't know. I'm torn with maybe throwing this trigger in the other gun and putting the super semi-automatic in this because
another, so Elfman Tactical is definitely something to look into because they're really good. Adjustable trigger. They also have the 2-stage that you want. But if you just want like an upgraded trigger from that, is the ALG Defense.
Yeah.
Sister company to Geisley.
Yep.
And so basically you get a trigger that looks like that, but it comes with a purple spring. And that's like a 3 to 4 pound spring or whatever. I have that on one of my rifles downstairs. And if I'm just looking for a similar to mil-spec trigger, but a little lighter trigger pull, I go with that.
ALG is the Geisley of AK triggers too.
I think his wife started that company. Or there's a story behind that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But in AKs, like an ALG defense trigger, that you don't need anything else other than that. Like, and that I don't know what they are now, but when I had my AK that I put one in, it was like $70. I could bump fire the thing off my shoulder. We actually had a buddy had some land down in Pleasanton, Kansas, and he had 2 neighbors. That was it. 2 neighbors in 40 miles or something. And we had the sheriff show up, and he goes, one of your neighbors called, and they heard full auto fire from your, from your residence. We just wanted to make sure, like, everybody's within, legal rights of what they're doing here. And we're like, this is what we're doing. And he's like, that's pretty badass. Have a good day. We'll see you later. Because we were just holding them off our shoulder and letting these light triggers just rip. Yep. So I would say ALG. Yeah, I'm all for ALG.
And then speaking of flashlight, another brand that gets kind of overlooked that I really like.
Curious here to what you
Olight.
Say. No. I almost bought an Olight.
I have all my like just regular flashlights that I use. Olight. I have an Olight on my Glock 40 or Glock 21.
Nope. Streamlight.
I'm a big Streamlight guy.
I would go Streamlight over Olight all day. I've done a lot.
But why?
That's
though?
the next
why
thing.
Though?
That's the next thing I'm buying. And I had an Olight in my cart, and I was about to click go, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch a couple more videos, and I've seen enough bad reviews. The Olight is awesome for probably how you've used it. You've tried it out, right? And some of them are even like 2,000 or more lumens. But what that runs, the runtime on that 2,000 lumens. So like, I found out all they need to do to claim a lumen amount is hit that, like, if you first press that button on your flashlight, as soon as it hits any portion of that beam hits 2,000 lumens, it's a 2,000 lumen flashlight. But an Olight, it might shine 2,000 lumens, but when you look at it, the runtime on 2,000 lumens is like 2 minutes. And the runtime on like sub 400 lumens is like a half an hour. And then it's out of batteries. And your Streamlight will run 1,000 lumens for 2.5 hours, and then it'll shut off. And a Surefire will run like 2,000 lumens, but your Surefire is... You could buy the Streamlight, the Olight, and take your wife out to a really nice dinner and have money left over before you buy a Surefire.
Yep.
Fair enough. I just like, as far as Olight goes, like just having the regular flashlights. I use them for my job.
I'll bring over my Streamlight and we'll play.
I'm going with Streamlight. It's the BCM of flashlights. Yeah. It's gonna work no matter what. Is it a Geisley? No. Or a Daniel Defense? No, it's not. It's not the Surefire, but it's so close to it for what you get. Here's the thing: the Streamlight setup with the pressure pad costs less than a Surefire pressure pad with everything set up on it. A Surefire pressure pad's like $140 to $160.
Damn. And
it doesn't come with the light, and the Streamlight you can get it with it.
Yep.
Well, there you go. So this is the go-to gun.
This is my new go-to gun.
Shit hits
so
the fan.
For when WW3 happens here pretty soon, this is what you're going to pick up.
Next week, this is the go-to gun.
Nice.
I will be sighting it in my backyard in the middle of the city.
Yeah, I've always wanted a Recce 16. Always wanted one. Just haven't. I mean, I could easily get one.
So everything I researched made me lean towards 14.5 over weight, but it's such a minimal like you get a 13-inch handguard and a 14.5-inch pinned, and then a longer. They make what they call. BCM has their own version of the AC2 flash hider that's a little bit longer, just to give you that exact 16.1 inches that's required to meet NFA standards. But for the weight difference versus now that I can wait till I'm ready to buy that next step of a suppressor and not have to commit to it today, because like I said, I mean, with the optic, I'm $2,500 into a gun. This
mean $250, right?
This is close to my entire, like, half of my gun collection is in my hand in money.
Do I need to bleep this out in case your wife listens to this?
It's $250.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, just dub it over like you did the P360.
$200.
$1.
Yeah. No, I like because on my 300 Blackout, I had the longer A2 that BCM has. I really like that. Even on a 16-inch barrel,
it's
I really
nice.
like that.
It is a nice flash hider.
But that is just the one you have on there is the regular.
It's a standard mil spec. Yeah, they sell it for under $20 or something.
Right.
It just came with it for free, and I chose that because I don't know what I want to do yet. I was debating buying like a QD flash hider, like that will take a suppressor, but I don't know what I'm gonna do. And the future changes so much. I mean, we went from like how I went through quad rail to key mod, and I had key mod for like a couple of months before I decided to go to M-Lock. You know what I mean? And that's what I worry about is if it takes me 2 years to decide to take that step for that suppressor. Because I mean, it's no joke. Like my Delton built out with Daniel Defense hardware and a Geisley trigger and everything is still under $1,000 rifle. And I'm going to have that in a suppressor with a tax stamp more than that. You know what I mean? So when I'm ready to make that step, I don't want to worry about like I have a pin barrel for only a Surefire that cost $1,400 plus a $300 tax stamp and all that. You know what I mean? Like,
well, depending on what suppressor you get, it may or may not come with the adapter.
Correct.
I bought a SIG one, and it came with the adapter that I just screwed onto the.
Yeah.
I took off the BCM flash hider there and just screwed that QD mount on, and
which would be great. And I want to do a QD one with one of the like heat suppression wraps on it. Is ideally what I would like to do. And I just wanted the option to pick whatever is the best on the market when I'm ready to buy versus lock into that now, because I don't know when that's going to be, you know, to lock into Surefire and then Surefire gets sued next week because someone uses it in a school shooting.
Yeah.
Like I can't commit to that. It's a $300 comp that if I don't buy the $1,000+ suppressor for, why did I buy it? It didn't have much benefit over the fact that it has a QD suppressor mount on it, you know, to a suppressor I may not buy, you know. And that being said, too, value-wise, God damn it, I wish I would have bought the Po' Boy suppressor. Did you ever see that? So Black Aces Tactical, they make a lot of like value shotguns. They, for 4 or 5 years, made this Po' Boy suppressor. It was a $200 full auto capable AR-15 or 30 cal suppressor. Your choice. $199 out the door, cheaper than your tax stamp.
Jeez.
And great reviews, and I'm like, well, I looked at it. I've done this with car parts before too. I'm like, it'll always be there.
Yeah.
Like I'll just buy it. And like I'm the other day I'm like, all right, $500. Let's go ahead and order this thing. They don't make them anymore. No one has them.
Of course
Can't
not.
find them. And that's the thing too. Like kind of like why I wouldn't register if somebody randomly has a pistol brace out there. Not that there's any of those out there. But if you register that, kind of like a suppressor, I'm sure there's guys that bought these $200 Po' Boy suppressors that would love to get rid of them. It's such a pain in the ass to get rid of because it's an NFA item that it's not going to happen.
I almost thought about doing it just to have so I can build whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
If it's going to be a free NFA item, might as well.
Yeah. No, and
That's the only
if
reason
you
I
have a
thought
lower
about it.
you want to mate to it, and I mean, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do it, but
I've been just debating. I was like, I could throw something together.
yeah. Well, and
Real quick, real cheap.
don't do anything until after March.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have talked about this yet, but there's a court ruling out there now to make it like 30 some odd state
Yeah.
like exempt to where these pistol braces will still be legal and you don't have to do anything to them. And if that's the case, keep it that way.
Yeah.
Like it's so much easier to not have to.
But
deal
again,
with.
that'll be on the state level versus,
A
you know, if you
federal.
get caught by a Fed.
I think Missouri and Kansas are both on it. I
I'm
know
sure.
Missouri is.
It's probably all the conceal carry where they all
Yeah.
like each other's.
Which
Yeah.
also at the
Yeah.
same time, I like if you're in it's not an amnesty state.
Sanctuary.
Sanctuary state.
Yeah.
Shouldn't that cover it in general? Like, that's the federal government coming after.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a
I don't know.
whole nother.
Yeah.
Luckily there's a lot of lawsuits against
Yeah.
that race
and
ruling.
Not
but-
only this, but unlike the bump stock ruling, the bump stock ruling took 2 years after the finalization of saying, hey, you have to destroy it or you're a felon.
Right.
Which there's probably a lot of felons out there, because from what I read, there was like 300 of those things turned in and like several million made and sold. But it now they're legal again.
Yeah.
If you own one, you're no longer a felon.
Yeah. The only reason why I was going to do it is just to build one to actually have
Yeah.
an NFA item, so then I could do it, make
Well, and
it
that's-
the way I want at that point for free. And you're like, you're just using the system against them.
Yeah.
Yes and no. They're gonna know you have that NFA item. So
Yeah,
you know,
but
and then you can't just like take that over to Missouri and shoot. You gotta
yeah.
go through the whole thing. I don't know.
It
I
has
have
ups and
NFA
downs.
items with the suppressors. I don't know. They shouldn't be NFA items. is
Yeah.
the
I
thing.
don't. I don't agree. That
The
it
only
should.
thing I agree that should be an NFA item is
full auto. Yep.
Yep.
Suppressor, short barrel,
Uh,
rifle, shotguns. I don't think should be on there.
if we're doing common sense gun law stuff right now as a gun owner, don't
We
tell,
might as well just turn on our guns because that's common gun.
Well,
that's common
don't
sense.
tell Biden I feel this way, because I don't need him going after it. But to me, it would make more sense for a 50 BMG to be an NFA item than a suppressor or a bump stock or a pistol brace. I mean, you're talking about something that can shoot through 3-inch steel plate, armored
Yeah.
steel plate, and that's not an NFA item. But you're
Not to
worried.
mention
You're worried
the
about my
distance
AR-15.
Yeah.
that can shoot.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but you're worried about my AR-15.
Well,
but I
not
can
a-
go today and buy a 50 BMG. Like, the reason people don't own 50 BMGs is because a Barrett costs $3,000.
Well,
That's
and you-
it. That's
Yeah.
period. That's
you have
it.
to have a certain place to shoot those. You just can't shoot those anywhere because of.
The power and the range it can cover.
And then you're on average $10 a
So-
round.
Yeah. But
The
still.
range we're going to, my buddy owns a 50 BMG, which we could shoot. He only has iron sights for it. And the first time he shot it to sight in his iron sights, he shot like a 4-inch branch off of a tree higher than he was looking for, because you're sighting in iron sights. You don't know where it's going to go.
Nice.
So,
Yeah, it won't land.
yeah. And he has land. So, I mean, it was downhill. Like, it wasn't going to hit anything, but it's still like he didn't expect to like blow apart a tree instead of hit a paper target that he was aiming at. But again, 50 BMG should be an NFA item over the shit that it is. Like, also, like, realistically, if you take this rifle and you make this a 10.5-inch rifle, anything under than 12 inches on this rifle greatly decreases what this rifle was designed before.
Yeah.
Like, the gas system is not set up to be anything below, like, once you reach 12 inches, it's just your range on this rifle, your bullet velocity at range on this rifle reaches a point that it's so ineffective to be like a 10.5 version of this is so much more deadly than a 16 is so wrong.
Unless, on the flip side of that, throwing a blackout is meant to be shot in a shorter barrel, suppressed, to have the same.
Correct. Your 300 blackout
Yeah.
is a really, really
Which-
badass pistol.
Yeah.
But it's not above 100, 150 yards. It's
Yeah.
the drop on it is unreal. And the drop on this with 223 on anything below 12 inches starts to get pretty extreme at beyond 100 yards.
You know what's fun to shoot? And I'll bring some if we go shoot at that place? Tracer rounds.
Yeah.
Those
I've done that a couple
things.
times. We shot tracer rounds at propane, like camping, like the tiny little, like 10-inch tall camp stove propane to see what would happen. Nothing happened. They wouldn't blow up. I think you need a flame underneath the propane.
Yeah. But the fact that those things shoot so hot, like as soon as you pull the trigger, bam, it's hitting what it is. Like
Oh, yeah.
those things shoot like crazy.
The crazy part was seeing what your ricochets did. Like, they were on the fence posts, and it's a uphill field we're shooting at, and they would hit the fence post, and you'd see the tracer round go up in the air, and you're like, holy shit, that's what our rounds are doing? Like,
Tracer rounds are a whole different ball game.
I mean, it makes you think differently about safety and everything. Because when you hear those ricochets, you don't really know what it's doing. Most of the time, they're headed like way high. Like they're gonna lose velocity hopefully before they hit whatever they hit. But
I shot mine
something's
into
that
a
way.
creek bed, so I was good. But man, I was a good distance away, and as soon as I pulled the trigger, you just see a puff of dirt. Like they were coming out hot.
Yeah.
So yeah, tracer rounds, pretty cool. They're hard to find now, but
Yeah.
If you own a 50 BMG, my buddy does. So he told me the cheapest way to buy 50 BMG rounds is belt fed, but you just take them
Off
out of the belt. But on that belt fed 50 BMG comes like every 5th round a tracer round. So you're getting, I think he's paying $1.50 a round, and you're getting like $4 round, $4 round, $4 round, $7 round, $4 round. It's like you can't beat that.
until you see the bulk price that you're paying for all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Then you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we should wrap it up. It's been about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
A little longer than usual.
Oh well.
Since we
Before
had
we
the
have to
Food
make it 2
Network channel
episodes.
before this. But yeah, like we've said before, if you guys are a gun owner, most people overlook this, but you should have self-protection insurance. So if you are a gun owner, use it for, or plan on, or maybe have a gun set aside for a potential self-defense situation. Check out Right to Bear Arms. They will get you set up, because even in a justified shooting, which actually a video just came out where a female used it in a justified shooting, she's getting sued $10 million by the family of the guy she shot. So even if you justifiably shoot this person and aren't going to prison, you still have the potential to get sued, which is stupid,
Yep.
as we all know. But obviously, I don't have $10 million laying around, and most of us don't. So this is when the self-protection insurance comes in handy. They also replace your guns. So check out the website, the link below in the description to Right to Bear. And also, if you use code Boomstick10, you get 10% off your subscription ongoing. So definitely worth it, because there's and like we said before, if you're in a shooting, who do you call?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
The police-
to have a card in your wallet.
Yeah, the police are not on your side.
Yeah.
At that
Just-
point,
you
justified
don't-
or not.
You don't speak to anyone. You just remain silent. You
call
use
that
your right
number
to
and-
remain silent, and then contact that lawyer and let them deal with it.
Yes.
Yep.
So check that out. And with that, Christopher.
Remember, this is a YouTube podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and tickle that bell. If you're listening on any other podcast platforms such as Spotify or Apple Podcasts, remember to like and follow. And please leave some comments down below and what's your thoughts on an ACOG if you own one.
Or plan to own one.
Yeah.
Or if I'm an idiot.
And remember, he only spent $250 on this.
Yep. Whole seven.
Yep. And with that, have a good one.